Hello, this is Captain Poodle speaking. Are you ready to find love?
Yes, ahoy, matey.
Love. Exciting and new. Go online. They're catfishing you.
Shocker.
Fiancé.
Soon you'll be flying to parts unknown.
90-day Beyonce.
Marrying someone you only met on your phone.
Be they French or Chinese, a brand new K1 visa's the key.
Ooh, the key to what, Poodle?
To love.
It's reality, yes, let's love.
How many? It'll be 6 and a baby. Coming this fall from Searchlight Cinemas. 6 and a baby. The story of a small town Kansas girl who liked black guys and her strange family.
At her stage, I feel like they are the. If you don't know what a microaggression is,
yeah, that's definitely
watch
over it.
Emily's Family.
Agree.
That I think that is such a good example.
Especially this episode.
Good thing to, and also coming next year, 6 adults, a baby, and a half, because there's another one on the way.
6 and a half and a baby. When they go out to eat, it's always a production. That's the tagline.
And there's more than one bun in the oven.
What will 5 adults, 1 baby say to an African from Cameroon?
Woo!
Wow. And they're eating Italian food.
Named Temperature. Not Templeton, the gay rat from Winnie the Pig, or not Winnie the Pig.
Charlotte's Web.
Charlotte's Web.
I'm very upset we did not. There should have been someone on the cruise say, so Temperature, where'd you get your name from?
Well,
nothing.
David said, her dad said, why is his name, is he?
Right. And Cody's like, that's just his name.
That's just his name.
But I'm saying what should have been a confessional was Temperature saying, they call me Temperature because of a blah, blah, blah. I'm so hot. Blah,
I wonder
blah,
if that's
blah.
his Christian name.
It is not his name.
I don't know. I don't know the names in Cameroon.
No one is named Temperature.
I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe his brother's or sister's name is Fahrenheit. Maybe it's a theme. He's got a brother, Celsius.
That would just be cruel.
What? But got a cousin named Squall. Like a squall, like a storm.
But what does that have to do with temperature?
Just weather.
Fahrenheit?
Just weather.
That makes no sense.
I'm glad now you quickly made...
That's what I have a problem with.
I'm glad you quickly made sense of it.
If those were a game of categories, Squall wouldn't belong.
I'm glad names have to be defined as a subcategory in pyramid.
Yes. No, I think we can obviously Temperature is a nickname. I'm saying it was a misstep by production. It's not saying, so Temperature, where'd you get your nickname from?
Yeah, it is.
It's a simple misstep, and we're all waiting for it.
There's a lot of other things that happened. So
Yeah.
maybe they said it and they edited it out.
Why?
Because this dinner conversation was uncomfortable.
True, but why did we really need Bini and Ari segment then? That kind of check-in, fast forward.
That was the weirdest thing.
I was concerned because I felt a little cheated because I said on the podcast.
Y'all, we're back
in
at
Denver.
Poodle's house, by the way. This is Reality Gaze.
We finished our tour in Denver. But
if you're watching Intimate Portrait, you're sitting right here back on this couch with us.
Hi. I'm petting your hair right now.
I'm tapping your leg and say, it's going to be fine, honey. That's what I'm doing.
That sounds strangely grooming. But I need to say that we need more from them, and I can't believe I would say that
from Ari and Bini.
Their story has been
a
a
disappointment.
cringe fest But I'm saying every time they were there with Leandro there and the MMA fighting,
I know.
it was entertainment. But then we get to one point and it kind of peters out.
There's more than we know.
I know.
Something. We'll talk about it in the segment.
Because they filmed a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
The other thing is, we know we have at least 4 more episodes.
But feels like we don't.
Right.
Doesn't feel like we do.
So there must be 3 tell-alls.
I told you earlier I could see this being a 3-part tell-all.
So
I said it. And I think
that means we've got... I think we have 2 more full episodes and 3 tell-alls. Because hey, is this the first show that we've announced that since Hey has been fully the trailer dropped?
Yes. I think so, yeah.
So y'all, Hey season Flibberty Gibbet 8, 7?
Hey.
8, 7. 7. I think it's 7.
Whatever.
Happily
the
Ever
new
After
one.
season 7 it was announced.
The new one.
I'm gonna go ahead and say it if your head's been the sand.
Oh, the new couples, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, Michael, Angela.
Or you're gonna do it.
Well, no, I just kind of.
I was just looking them up.
Michael, Angela, which Kim and Usman, and then we're gonna have
which I'm kind of excited about.
We have Libby and Andre.
Yeah, shocker.
And then we also hold on. Let me see if I remember Libby and Andre, and then we have Kim and Ed, who we're not going to be covering.
Nope.
Liz and Ed.
Liz
who
and
we're
Ed.
not going to be covering. And
Jenny
then
and Submit.
Jenny and Submit. That's 6.
Anybody
Anybody else?
People are screaming. Yara and Jovi.
Yara and Jovi. So maybe we're not.
We're gonna get one more, we think.
But that would be 8 couples.
They've done it before with Happily Ever After.
We think there's going to be 8 because they usually do surprises with somebody from this season of 90 Day.
I'm
And we
heavily betting Bilal and Shaeeda or Kara and Guillermo.
I think it's going to be Bilal and Shaeeda.
Me too.
Yeah.
Won't that be a nice extra dimension of like a nice mayonnaise aioli spread of on that shit sandwich?
Don't disparage aioli. I love it so much. Why would you do that? But you can have some on your vacation because we're taking a vacation.
We're taking a vacation
next week.
Not us together.
No,
we don't need to see each other for like a year.
That would be wonderful, to be honest. We're out. We're going, and by out means if your Patreon fucks up, contact Patreon. If Poodle's Instagram gets hacked, I don't care. Don't message me. Well, if you message us in the Facebook group, I'm not looking at it.
Right.
Email Jackie or the head mod. So the Facebook group is still going, but we are out. So this is our last thing we're doing. We're putting these 2 90-day episodes. So these are technically airing during our vacation, but we're out from Monday to Monday. So next week's 90-Day Fiancé, we're not covering.
Right.
We're just going to let it be, as Mother Poodle says.
Let it be.
We will be dropping because we pre-recorded them early.
Below Deck Med and Badoo.
Below Deck Med and Badoo.
Below Deck Down Under.
Now, big news, 90 Day Fiancé UK is coming out on a week from today, or when we're recording this on Sunday. We don't know yet if it's going to air in the U.S. or not. We
have reached out. Now, we have we have reached out to different places and we've gotten 2 different answers.
Basically, yes, a social media account associated with Discovery UK told us it is airing in the U.S.
on Discovery Plus.
Matt Sharp's production company emailed me back and told me it was not airing in the U.S. So we'll find out.
I wish we knew more. I'm so sorry.
I wish we knew more.
I really apologize.
But we don't.
If some keyboard warrior or detective wants to find out or wants to email someone and find out, we have exhausted what we know.
Because originally I think they said it was going to air on the 25th.
They did.
But now it's for sure airing on the 24th.
Yeah.
So on Sunday. So anyway, but we're going to get whether it's here or a VPN, we're going to cover it. So we are going to miss it on Sunday, but we are going to go. The only 2 shows we're going to go back and cover are 90 Day UK. We'll cover that episode, the first episode, and we're going to cover Love in Paradise because
it's going to go on the free
feed. Try to make me not cover that show. It's so good.
The other shows, what we'll do when we come back, you guys, we're not going to go back and cover them, but we will say what did we miss?
Well, what did we miss?
And we'll just hit the highlights. of
it.
that for that. So
You're wearing socks. You never wear socks in your house. You're always barefoot.
I know. I was wearing.
A little chilly?
No, I was wearing tennis shoes earlier.
Making sure your feet stay clean for some feet play tonight. Got something planned?
You know, guys are into that for me. It does absolutely nothing for me. Feet play.
It doesn't do anything for me, but they love mine. And I'm like, sure, go ahead.
Don't want to think about that.
I get it. I don't know why, but you want to slide your dick in my toes and fuck my foot? Sure. I don't care. Just get to the money spot
It's full
later.
of sound and fury signifying nothing for me.
I think I might like foreplay a little more than you, though.
No, I'm fine
I feel
with
like
it.
it's 5 minutes and you go, get in there.
No, I'm just saying it's fine for them to enjoy themselves and we can kind of do that. But if it stretches out into 5 to 10 minutes,
I just
then
imagine some
I'm going
guy
to read in Us Weekly.
I imagine some guy like dick slapping your foot and you just filing your nails, going, "Tell me when you're done, honey. I'll be here, right here." Chewing
I'm going to
gum.
be clipping coupons. Can you see me just going with like a scissors, just clipping coupons?
Oh, look.
Oh, 2 for 1 Kleenex.
The kind with lotion.
Yes.
Anyway,
Oh,
that's what's going on in our world.
Diet Coke is on sale. My mother, I told
Now
my
that's
mother
another
about
poop.
that.
Thank you all again for supporting us on Summer Should Be Fun. We are looking at dates to come travel to a city near you, hopefully in the later fall.
Yeah.
So we will be announcing that. We honestly don't know anything right now. We haven't even started to look.
Yeah.
So
we were going to talk to Kristen today.
Yeah.
I thought.
Oh, we were.
Yeah.
So no, we said to do it after the break. After the
Oh,
vacation.
okay.
That's what she said.
I can't remember.
Yeah, we're just talking about shop on the show, y'all. Welcome to us.
Sorry.
Your hair's crazy. Poodle's been driving in L.A. today, and he forgot to think about L.A. You're
Well,
in
no,
a
no,
state,
it's
and you
Sunday.
need to explain this, Big Bruce, because people watching the intimate portrait are
Oh,
going to.
this.
It looks like
Isn't that awful, guys?
It looks like I've been hitting
Doesn't
you.
it look awful?
Or I grabbed him and threw him. I did not.
Okay. I know it looks. I bruise easily, and it looks. When I do bruise, it looks like I'm dying.
Where's Timey?
I was using a roller, like a little back roller, and I fell
Back rolls.
and I fell off of it, and my arm landed on it, and it's got a sharp edge, and it hurt really bad.
It looks like it.
But this part of your arm bruises really bad too, because there's not a lot of area there between the bone.
All right,
So-
Gray. I'm done with the anatomy. Let's move on.
All right, sure. I'm fine.
The fascia
you
is very.
you started talking about it.
You went into a very detailed description of the muscles on the body.
You asked.
I did ask.
Is there anything else we need to talk about? I just want to say it was
No.
we had a really good time on our tour.
did.
Kind of looking back, we started live shows in November of last year, and
Yeah, because we did like 2 last year, or 1.
LA, one,
We did 1, yeah.
and then this year has basically been in every possible bad weather pattern.
Yeah.
Heat, extreme heat, or extreme cold.
So if you're wanting an early winter,
Bomb
in the fall,
cyclones.
don't worry, we're going to bring it to
Yep.
you.
Yep.
We're going to bring it to you.
I think 18 live shows that we've done so far.
I stopped counting after 10. It was just all a blur. I was just taking.
I think it's 18. I'll have to go over
We'll
it
have to go
again.
and count.
And you can still write us and say, "Come to my city." We're probably not gonna come to Kennebunkport, Maine. So when you think about that, think: are there enough people in my metro area to merit?
We're
that?
not even coming to Portland, Maine. Sorry.
No, the Salt Wife would be first up.
No, we
See us
should
there.
put that up. We did that on the show, but we haven't put that on our social media.
We made a short film of the Salt Wife that
It
we
was
showed.
enjoyable.
We showed it at our San Diego show.
Sissy Christina edited it exactly as my vision saw when I filmed it, and exactly as your vision
And
saw when you were 8 years old and started to create a salt wife in your head. Because it's been brewing that
My
long.
whole life has been about creating usually female older female characters
Yeah.
for myself
as a young
to play
child, as a young boy,
as a young child.
as a young child. Yeah,
Because
that's
I
why
found-
you love Mama's Family
Oh my
so
God!
much. You wanted to be Mama.
I find women over 50 so interesting. I find and their stories, and
I know.
I've been obsessed with. That's why I would hang around my aunts and want to hear their stories.
You probably liked
And-
the grandmother on Andy Griffith's show, Best of All.
Oh, she wasn't the grandmother. It was Aunt B. She was
Aunt B, that's what she was.
It was his like mother who was dead. I'm sure, and probably like
Probably.
I don't know if his mother. I'm sure his mother was dead.
There was a lot of things back in the 70s where someone didn't live with their parents, but they lived with their aunt or uncle.
Yeah.
And they never talked about it. Golly.
Riveting.
A lot of tragedy.
Riveting.
All right. Let's move on to this, y'all. Okay.
Kobe and Emily.
Emily, they're at the Princess and the Penguin, which I kind of thought was a cute name for a bridal,
The Princess and the Penguin.
and a tux shop.
It's not a bad idea.
It's better than the one that Evelyn and David went to.
Everything tuxedo and everything bridal.
Right next door to one another.
I think it was in the same story. Everything bridal and everything tuxedo. Remember the
Yeah.
guitar solo?
Yes, I do.
That would happen because the everything bridal would have a harp theme.
Yeah, it would be the boom, boom,
And
boom, boom, boom.
everything bridal and everything tuxedo.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Because it's so gendered. Because a guitar is for a guy.
Guitars are
and
for
a harp is for
guy,
a girl.
guy.
Like Elizabeth Smart.
It's true.
Or Elizabeth Banks, who played her harp.
When she played her harp. I really feel guilty about keeping the secret from my parents.
No,
and they
you
can tell
don't.
because there's this vibe. You know, so y'all came at us, not really came at us, but in the comments last week, and you reminded us of something. Because we said, and I still stand by this, it takes two to tango, and Kobe should have, why not just wear a fucking condom?
Mm-hmm.
And because Emily said, well, you told me not to take birth control. And everybody said, y'all said, mostly women, so I can say this, that you felt, remember, Emily showed us who she was in episode 1. Emily always does what she wants.
Yeah.
If Emily didn't want to have a baby, she wouldn't. And I went, you're right. A part of her wanted this.
She does what she wants.
As soon as her father said, don't get pregnant, a part of her goes, I'm going to get pregnant just to show him.
You're right.
And I think those sissies are right. Yeah, so you've convinced me.
I just don't have words to say how much I loathe her.
It's really horrible how she treats him.
I loathe her treatment of her family. I loathe her entitlement.
She's a bully. She bullies everyone.
I hate the way she goes through life. Kind of this hypercritical, kind of pushy, thinking everything should come to her and she's the ultimate arbiter of truth. That's a very Rodney phrase. Ultimate arbiter of truth.
It's true. It's true. It is.
Ultimate arbiter of truth.
Everyday truth.
So I just I find her not. I started out finding her exhausting, and it made me angry. It has developed into this quiet loathing, and
I will
just
people. We've been talking about the word controlling a lot because they're throwing. We feel like
she's
they're throwing
controlling,
and I
very
and
much
I
so.
Said, Bilal is controlling because I think Patrick is not controlling. Emily is controlling.
Y'all, she orders for Kobe.
She is very controlling. It's a very different
And
way.
it's also a kink for her, though.
It's maybe
There's
not,
something, and I think it's definitely linked to the fact that he's a black man from Africa. There's something there. I think.
I think that I want to say that she would act this way against any guy, but I think because he is not, especially from this country, I think maybe a black man, but I think anyone from another country.
That could be true.
I think it's an American thing of, I know better than you because I'm from here. And she would totally...
and I'm going to play upon your perceived ignorance of my country
'Cause-
to always control you and have the upper hand.
Because in her defense, Ari kind of tried to play that card with
She
Biniam,
did.
But Biniam stood up for himself
Yep.
and kind of made his own way, and Ari backed down from that.
She did.
Whereas Temperature... I can't believe I'm using this. But temperature, when he would talk,
This is called Temperature Check, by the way,
yeah.
which is one of the smartest names
It's a good
of
name.
an episode.
It's a good name.
Because he checks Kobe and kind of checks the rest of the family.
Yeah. And then, but temperature basically tells him you need to stand up for yourself. Now,
He also
agree with
says a
him,
lot of other
but he
things.
says a lot of other things that are, as Americans, we see as problematic, and we're going
Right.
to talk about this, but I don't want to say problematic. I hate that word. As we see as misogynist.
Yep.
Let's call it what it is. But in his country, this is
normal.
not seen as misogynist. So it's how do we...
And what I
Yeah.
don't get, we're going to talk about this a little bit later, is it seems like it can be only one way or the other
One way or the other, I'm gonna have another baby. Cause you're creamy, you're fucking creamy, you're creamy, creamy, baby, have a baby.
He'll have the lasagna.
And I love your lasagna.
And don't you love their lasagna, Kobe? You're gonna have their lasagna.
You're gonna have their lasagna.
So, but I would say,
Martinelli's. That's the name of the place that they're at.
Martinelli's.
Yeah,
I thought it was maybe that
Martinelli's.
cider or something.
Yeah, the same name. Yeah.
So they are. They're remember, they're not going to tell anyone before the wedding.
No.
And Kobe is so nervous about this, and he feels that it's disrespectful not to tell the parents. And this is very similar to the same thing we were thinking about Thais and Patrick, where the parents are going to be also mad at Kobe. That and so she is. It's also a little bit like someone on our Patreon pointed out. It's very Chantel Pedro when she made him complicit in her lie.
Yeah.
To her parents.
We were really
And-
bothered by that.
And
That's true.
And that's one of the reasons the parents really never forgave Pedro for that.
Yeah.
So that's why this idea of it's her father's, she can tell whatever she wants. Not true. When you're going to have someone who goes through your life, this is the thing. It's Emily's life. No one's defending Emily, though.
The best thing Kobe could do, he'll never do this, is to go behind her back and tell the parents that
He
she's pregnant.
never will do that.
I wish I could go back in time. There's only 2 times I wish I could do that in my life.
Prevent
Yes.
the sperm from entering
Yes.
her vagina.
The first one
Just
is
put a hand in there.
Yes. Well, no, not that. The first one is to go back in time and be with that paparazzi photographer that caught Brad Pitt naked. I'd like to be there for that.
Ooh.
And number 2
It
would
wasn't
be
big.
to go back in time. It was still enjoyable.
It was.
The number 2 would be to go back in time and tell Kobe after this, let's go tell her parents that she's pregnant, just to see Emily's head explode. She would
So
lose her
not
shit.
to kill Hitler, which is everyone's go back in time.
So anyway,
I'm glad you chose Brad Pitt. And though, it's just as long as the priorities are there. Although butterfly effect thing, you kill Hitler, what else happens? Does someone else step up?
No, I don't know.
Probably not.
Probably
But
not, but
I'll
hope
let
not.
you sit in that for a little
Okay,
bit.
I'm just gonna still saw Brad Pitt naked, y'all. It's a win, and that was like Fight Club Brad Pitt. Whoa,
Oh,
whoa!
I did not expect
for that. That was the whole team.
one of the few things. There's 2 things I'm excited about Happily Ever After. That voice and me being able to do Joby's parents or his mother.
Yeah. The neighbor's doing stuff, y'all. Get ready.
Rebuilding the ark.
Rebuilding the
That-
ark. So he
come.
says on the groomsmen, his friends Pascal and Sam are coming from Ohio, but he said temperature's already in town. She went, what? And she's always stroking her-
wedding
What? I guess you're gonna have a date tonight
You're gonna have
with
a
your
date.
friend, and I'm gonna plan our wedding all by myself.
And it is kind of said with a little bit of a laugh, but it is completely full of venom.
Oh.
And it's like he has one friend.
Yeah.
You have an entire town full of enablers.
You have
And
your family, and
You,
it's so-
you would fault him seeing his one friend who's in town.
And it's so
Ah!
it's heartwarming, but it's also so sad that when Kobe goes to Temperature's room and sees him, you can tell that a
He's
part of him is
emotionally
finally
overcome.
like, it's his friend, but he's also just finally a black man in this sea of fucking white people that he's been sitting with.
Someone who know your people. These
Your
are people.
people.
These are people who know. This is someone who knows you. No, none of the people in that house know him.
No, and I'm so glad
You have
that
the same cultural traditions, the same. Yeah,
I'm glad that Temperature brought up a new way for Kobe to think about America, where basically America is not just Salina, Kansas. We have a very large African community of friends that I have in Ohio.
When this was said, this hope bubbled up into me.
Thing with feathers, but then Emily went, wait a minute.
Because he's going to ask her to move to Columbus. And I can't wait to see her shrivel, because this is a big move for him. She is comfortable around her people. She goes to Ohio where she doesn't know anyone.
Well, her family enables everything for her and does everything for her.
Exactly. And then as soon as you're out of that Kansas bubble, you get to Columbus and you have to meet everyone, and you can't be a high-riding, terrible bitch all the time.
You're not the queen bee in the town anymore.
Nope.
You know who's
even your gay friend's not there.
Even your gay, but you know who's going to love it more than anyone? Meredith.
Finally, Emily's
Finally.
gone. Poor Bangs.
Poor Bangs. That's what I would do, actually. Instead of, I would go back in time and I would have Kobe tell Meredith that she's pregnant, and then Meredith and Kobe go together and tell her parents.
Wow.
God, I want to fuck up their relationship so bad because she's so terrible.
No, they're going to do that all on their own. Trust me. So, anyway, Temperature and...
Temperature's rising. I keep thinking every time we say the name.
A warm front's coming in. I don't think that's a... They were really good at all their weather metaphors.
Oh, I wonder who wrote that song. It had to be a queen.
You know who wrote that song?
Who? Barry Manilow?
Paul Schaefer. Paul Schaefer.
Why do I know that name?
Because he's David Letterman's band leader.
Paul Schaefer, a UNT graduate.
Paul Schaefer wrote "It's Raining
Really?
Again."
Y'all, he went to school where we went to school.
Yes.
Look at that.
I don't know. That's a weird detail that stuck in my head.
Really?
And a very gay detail.
That's great.
But yeah, something. It's temperature's rising, the pressure's getting low, and the reef's about to die for the first time. Just about happened. Last time in history, it's gonna start raining bad.
I will say,
Not the right key, but
I bet he learned that a lot from watching Troy Duncan when he went to school at North Texas, because the weather's always changing and they talk about it. That's probably how he learned. It's true. If you live in Oklahoma, Texas, Kansas, you know more about the weather than the normal people in California don't know shit about the weather. They've never heard of barometric pressure in their life.
This conversation embarrasses me.
It's true, though.
It is so tiresome. We have to move on. Remember on old SNL, Dieter from Sprockets would go, "Your conversation has become tiresome."
It's tiresome.
And we just move on.
And
That's what I'm going to start doing.
Now we dance.
So
Kobe he's like, Emily's wife material, but she is a little controlling. And Temp, that's where Temp goes into just
so he's Temp now.
Or Temperature. Yeah, it's hard for me to say Temperature. But that's where Temperature goes into a kind of, I would say, I don't know, his treatise on American men
and women
of that basically, well, that's just what happens with Americans, is that women boss around American men all the time. And I want to say, since a lot of women don't have rights over their bodies right now in America,
yeah,
I think there's a few points you might be missing, Temp.
Yeah. And in Ohio basically tried to force a 10-year-old girl to have a to bring a rapist baby to term.
Yeah, so that's
maybe we should pump those brakes. Now it's
break Temp.
Also he doesn't have. He's been here for a year and a half. So on a lottery visa. So let's give him. He also comes from a very patriarchal African culture where men are in charge and are given the final say.
Yep.
But it's interesting. Kobe's been in this family long enough to be a little more moderate about the way he thinks. But he does.
Also, Kobe has traveled the world.
Right.
As an underwear model.
He does take Temperature's words and saying, you know what, I do need to find my own kind of masculine energy again.
You do feel like Kobe is more, I don't need to be the person in charge, but more,
let's
he
work
wants to
together.
Have a say, and right now he has no say in this relationship.
No, this is complete financial, cultural manipulation on her part.
Yes.
This is, she loves that she can completely order someone around. She has all the power in her disgustingly long, thick tongue.
Basically.
Yeah.
So they none of
like
much
a
more
giraffe.
happened. Yeah, it's true, like a giraffe at Arbuckle Wilderness. And so Kobe tells him, he's like, well, she's also pregnant. He goes, oh, Kobe. And so that's basically where he just says, that's where he brings up, you've got to come to Columbus. I think you'll have a much better life that.
And let me bring this up. This idea, you guys, of using a community of people where you come from, using communities of immigration, has been around as long as this country's been around.
Yeah, because Kobe probably looks at, my son's not going to know what it is at all to be African.
But even more than that, this is a way communities of immigration support one another.
Yeah.
It's who you know. You can get a job via someone.
Yes.
So these are ways to get hands up. These
It's
are
going to be
ways
a
to
lot,
know someone.
lot harder for Kobe to get to make connections in
Salina, Kansas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because as Temperature says, if you say living here, you're signing your death warrant.
Well, and I think he was mostly talking about being, especially with a woman.
Yeah.
But living with a woman.
But I mean, like,
generally.
he sees it as very dire.
But I need it would be so helpful to Kobe to live somewhere where he knew people who were either African or from Cameroon, and that way you would have a community at least to engage with.
No, I mean,
it's just I
don't know what would have happened to us if I didn't move to a place where I found gay community.
Yeah,
because we didn't have that where we lived.
You guys, you have to find your people. If you're somewhere, I know a lot of military families have this. You move somewhere and you're like, fuck, I don't know anybody.
Yeah,
and I would tell you the great thing about the internet now is you can find your people.
Yeah.
And so especially if you're military, you're moving around all the time.
Yeah.
Go to our Sissy Squad, join our Facebook group, or that's a great way to find our people. But, look around for groups that people who are like you, like-minded
They're
individuals.
starting groups within the group. I know San Diego started a subgroup after they met each other at our live show. They started a subgroup of San Diego.
Honestly,
Sissy subgroup.
It makes me tear up just thinking about it because that's the only thing I want for people is not to feel isolated. But I'm isolated by choice because I don't want to deal with people, but I don't like it when people are alone. I don't want people to feel like they don't have anyone.
But Kobe's not going to have that because they're going to have another baby, and so they're going to need her family's help again. So they're going to stay in fucking Kansas.
It's almost like it was deliberate. It's almost like she needed another nail in the coffin.
Telling you.
Another nail.
Sissy's opened my eyes to
projected out of her uterus.
I'm telling you, she just went pop. So
I don't know if we've I don't know if we've seen someone who is not like Bilal style evil, but like she has her own brand of awfulness.
It is interesting though. It's very interesting to me to see.
Get it out.
I think
Hazel.
a lot of times when people say the word controlling, they think it's got to be from like, a movie of single white female or what's the other one with Julia Roberts that everybody talks about?
Sleeping with the Enemy.
They think it's
The
got to be
towels.
like that. That's not always. Emily is just as controlling. Let's talk about this dinner at Martinelli's. So they're all sitting there.
Six and a baby, please.
Six and a baby. Lisa says, yeah, we're very excited to meet his friend. She doesn't look happy at all.
She never looks
She
happy.
hates being on this show. She's done with this. And so Temperature comes in. Temperature comes in hot. Take that to the bank because he just sits down at dinner and says, well, how is it here? It must, I don't know if Kansas is the place to be. And just starts
He
talking
says-
about there's a big community for you
says,
in Ohio.
America's the place to be. It's like, Kansas is not the place to be. And everyone kind of went, and Emily's like, went like this.
She's like, wish your mouth's always over. And she's like, what?
Yeah.
And so that's when she orders a lasagna. And he was like, you were ordering for Kobe? And Kobe's like, well, she does that. And so
He's like, then he says, you have to man up, Kobe, basically. Remember, you guys, do you know he's descended from a royal family? And they all go, what? And they all,
immediately,
they all laugh.
They immediately, the only reference they know of, they immediately all thought of Coming to America.
Yeah.
100%.
And then they all probably say, maybe he's the Nigerian prince who needs the email or something. That sends this email. So, the most nonplussed by all of it is Emily's like, what do you mean? Do we have a castle in Cameroon or something?
She's like, wait, does that mean you have money?
No, you know what she said? It's worse than that. She said,
oh, but she said you have no money and no kingdom.
And no kingdom to rule. And I went, how can you talk to someone you love like that?
How can you talk to someone you love like that? And how can you, this isn't just his lineage. This is your son's lineage.
Yeah.
So you're literally disparaging your child's heritage.
It
was really gross.
He explains in Cameroon there are 200 tribes and they all have their chiefs. And he's like, and I don't want to do that. That's my father's thing. He's like, that's just not me.
And he said, I chose my own path. I'm far away from that.
But everything about it is condescending. Everything about it is
that's
something
a big
to laugh
thing.
about.
Why wouldn't you tell me?
Because that's why I wouldn't tell you, because look what you just did. You made it a joke.
And also I would be more interested they're all like, I can't believe you didn't tell me this. Well, maybe what's the reason? Like, maybe it wasn't good with him and his family. Like, why jump to...
The next thing is he starts... Temperature keeps saying, well, remember that in Africa, the man is the head of the family, and the man does... So, in other words, as soon as he said that, it was like the turd in the pool had been spotted, and Bangs is like, well, that's not going to work here. And it's this is an interesting way to phrase an argument. However, you can't just say, you have to know the context from both sides where they're coming from.
Which Lisa kind of said. Yeah. Mom kind of said there's different sides. Because she said, but he's not marrying an African woman.
Exactly.
He's marrying an American woman.
Which was a good context to take.
And I actually wrote what David said. I wrote, you can tell that Temperature's not married. You can tell that he's a single man. So there's two parts of this. I want to respect his culture, but I do think also he's a single man with a lot of arrogance about that, espousing what he thinks the way men and women should behave. And he doesn't know.
It is going to be harder in America to behave, to think that way about male and female relationships or relationships in general. It's going to be harder to think that way
because the culture of the country doesn't support
in some places you'll be fine.
In some places,
but most of those places, Temperature, you really wouldn't want to be.
Yeah. The men are in charge, but black people aren't living there.
Exactly.
So
that's that Venn diagram.
Yeah, exactly. Nowhere does it fit. Nowhere.
Yep. Agree.
So Kobe again kind of goes, I would like to have more of a say. And Temperature's like, and Emily said, she's like, what did she say? I wrote, I hate that men are the boss.
She also says, do you agree with everything? Kobe, do you agree with everything?
Oh, and she goes back and says, I hope this doesn't get into Kobe's head because he acted like this before when he told me to fuck off in the barn. And I went, he was not controlling. He was not in charge. You were being a fucking nag. And I'm not talking about the horse.
No.
I'm talking about you. And he rightly told you to shut up.
There has been no time that he has acted. There were two times when he talked about the boob thing, when he talked about
I forgot about that.
My son, blah blah blah, and a couple of things about the birth control thing. Those are all things you can talk about in a calm way without making him feel inferior or anything like that. Taking his culture and taking his ideas and saying, how about this? How about we compromise here? She's not one for compromise.
Because I think you're right. I don't think Kobe would be caring about this at all if he
No.
felt like he had some type of say in the relationship.
Yep.
He
Agreed.
has no voice in this relationship.
That's all I got about those two. We are hurtling towards marriage. There's nothing anybody can do. I guarantee you they're still together. We need to get ready to swallow that big turd at that wedding. And I'm not talking about Emily.
They're not going to be, but if they're unhappily ever after, I will love it.
I'm not sure I'm ready for that.
Oh, I am.
I don't think she's going to ever film again.
As much hate as she's gotten, probably not. Unless they filmed Happily Ever After before this came out, so she didn't know.
There's no way they filmed. I don't know if they can do that.
Yeah, that's true. All right, y'all. The other thing you can be sure of is that we're going to take a commercial, and we'll be right back. All right, Patrick and Thais, let's do it.
Just 1 second. Congratulations to Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck.
We just found out I read this morning. They're
How
married.
much more excitement can you have for your fourth wedding?
You know, they
For
texted all their
J-Lo's fourth
friends.
wedding.
Matt Damon was like,
dude,
congrats, bud. Or just texted back like an ellipses.
I mean, great, but it's just to this point. I'm sure she wanted it. I'm sure she just wanted to do it again. I mean, I'm glad they're happy.
I better turn on Tommy.
But I feel like we all have one big collective. At
I
this
don't have
point
that.
in 2022.
I don't even care anymore. I don't even have that.
To me, I just go.
Sure.
I mostly because I still think she can do better. And she needs to just be with someone.
I mainly just worry because I love Jennifer Garner so much, and I know they have kids together, and what I've heard about J-Lo is that she's a pretty horrible person to be around. I don't want the kids to be
I've
around.
never heard that specific.
I've heard she's.
Oh, really?
I heard she can be
Difficult?
very difficult.
I
Very
bet that. I don't think she's a
demanding.
bad person, though.
I should say that, yeah. And I don't want to say difficult because they say women are difficult,
Right.
But what I've heard is that she is one of those people on set that only a certain level of people can even speak to her or even look at her.
Yeah.
She very much is I am J-Lo.
She's like Kara. I'm a lot to handle.
Yeah. So I think her ego.
Even though I think I'm a lot.
I think she's very talented. But yeah.
Congratulations. It's just the most. Everyone is like the most half-hearted.
You would know.
Congrats.
You know that she would be more loved by people if she was in better movies, because writers and things don't want to really succeed in writing. They're just cashing a check. They're like, J-Lo's in it. She's going to play this.
Yeah.
'Cause what was that terrible movie she was with? What's his name?
All of them.
Who just gets his nose gets worse and worse. Looks like he breaks it before every movie. Who talks like Luke?
Owen Wilson.
Owen Wilson. Yeah.
Okay,
Owen
not a
Wilson.
what's his name. That he is a bona fide celebrity.
It's mean of me to say this, but every time I see Owen
His
Wilson,
nose gets worse and worse before every movie.
every time I see him, I do a ooh. He just looks not attractive more and more the more I see him.
Okay, I don't have that.
Just looks like people have been
visceral
throwing
reaction.
a baseball at his face. Bless his heart.
I think he has broken his nose several times.
I think he keeps breaking it in every movie.
We must move on.
We must move
I am
on.
so sorry I brought it up.
Let's talk about Patrick and Thais.
Yo, she's calling the father. She's calling the father.
Thais.
The father.
You know what I wrote? They came on the screen and I wrote, they're boring.
Well, as I said at the Denver show, they deserve one another.
I mean,
It's fine.
but
Next week, it looks like she's leaving.
it looks like she's getting on a plane, going somewhere.
And maybe that plane will explode.
You said
I'm sorry.
I don't want that to happen. You said though at the beginning you thought you reversed track on yourself because you thought they're going to do it.
Yeah,
and it's interesting.
At the beginning, they were the one I did not think.
As
would get
the
married.
season went on for me, I've kind of thought more and more that she would go home. I think she really is going to go home.
Well, it's because I still think she did have one foot in Brazil and one foot in Texas,
and
which is a hard thing to balance.
And her father's fucking crazy. I think it really freaked me out.
This is interesting. I think the father. I think there are two things at work here. I think the dad is extremely critical and extremely judgmental.
If you didn't watch the episode, by the way, y'all, she called her. We should say
she calls her father. She calls the father.
Her and Patrick do it together. At first, her FaceTime with Dad, and they say we're getting married. Dad does not have a good reaction.
In fact, his face twitches.
I wrote, you see his face twitch.
Yeah. It was weird.
It was weird. They talk for a little bit. Patrick says, because to Patrick's credit, he said, do you want to talk to your dad on your own? Or do you want, and she said, let's tell him and then I'll talk to him on my own. So Patrick left.
And the only thing the father says is, already? And
they've been together for 2 years.
And they're engaged.
And y'all, 2 years. And remember, he went to see her like 11 times.
Yep.
So they spent a lot of time together.
Here's what's
out of any couple on 90 Day Fiancé, besides maybe Carrie and Guillermo,
they do seem to have a foundation for it.
Yes.
Here's the thing. Here's my theory on this. She has never been honest with her father about the depth of their relationship.
Agreed.
When the father says, I don't really like that guy, which he says to everyone she dates.
We're not that serious.
Even the Brazilian men she dates.
Yeah.
She tries to keep him away. She says, we're not that serious. It's fine. You'll like him one day. But because of the show and because of the visa, she is finally forced to confront this kind of avoidant relationship she has with her father.
I agree with that.
She is terrified of the father seeing her in anything but a very obedient and to her, and the father looks at her and says, she's my 6-year-old girl. She's my 6-year-old girl. Or I remember my daughter at her first communion. That's what I will always see her as. And which is fucked up.
It's fucked up. And the reason she's calling Patrick controlling when Patrick, I don't think, is controlling, is because that's what men are in her
Amen.
life. Her father's controlled her all life, so that you spot it, you got it. But it's with her dad, because it's all
that's strong.
All the shit that the dad ends up saying, well, is Patrick going to do this to you? And I went, I bet you've done this to your own daughter and probably to other relationships you've been in with women.
I had my heart kind of softened to her for the first time the entire season for me.
It did, because I think her father's horrible.
And
I really was triggered
and
by
I
him.
just kind of went, oh, you're trying your best to get away, but you can't. This is a really codependent mess you're in.
Yes, I saw that too.
And
because Dad said, when people, because she said, Dad, he's a good person. I will show you. He will show you he's a good person. And he said, oh, no, I think his intention is to deceive you. And then he said, people, when they meet, and I think he might have said this about U.S., but he said, they want to conquer everyone. And I went, someone doesn't talk about conquering someone. And I don't think that's a lost in translation thing for me. It seemed, come at me, sissies that speak Portuguese, because maybe it doesn't sound so
colonial.
So colonial, and also just so violent.
Yeah.
And when he said that,
he was trying to scare her.
Yeah, it seemed like he was just trying to scare her.
And meanwhile, John and Patrick are out in the garage, and he's there, and John's finally like, well, she's calling the father.
That's good.
And he's basically.
Meanwhile, Patrick, you said, is not the smartest tool in the shed, and I agree, because Patrick still thinks the father likes him. This is kind of like Ariana and Sherlon. Everyone knows the father doesn't like Patrick.
God.
Yeah, poor Ariana and Sherlon on lip.
I need to say, he was giving her time with her dad, which I understand. I would have not given her that time. I would have been there with the dad and said and listened, and he speaks Portuguese. And I would have made that time. I know Thais didn't want that, but I would have made that time to say, to really bring that home with the dad that I love your daughter. I'm not like this.
And also now we are a front. We are a twosome now.
Exactly.
We're standing together. I think Patrick did it to be nice. Of course,
I think
he's
it's
got
the
John
worst.
saying, you don't know. John, instead of saying you should be by your wife's side, he said, what's he saying about you in there? You need to go find out.
Yeah.
And then Patrick kind of goes,
Gonna walk you down the aisle and punch you in the face.
what? I didn't think of that, brother.
But later on, you guys, he says, the father says they pretend to be a good guy, and then it's all going to be bad.
Deceive you.
And I will say, phrases like this, getting married is easy, getting divorced is hard. That is the one piece of advice that is just awful. It's just going to wreck, especially if you're, it'd be one thing if this man had done horrible things to Thais. I don't think the father knows anything about her life. I think she has kept father. Sorry, I cannot say that without going, the father. I think she has kept her entire life from him.
I think so too, because I think she's scared of him.
Yeah.
And because the way he said in his voice, leave it all and come back as soon as possible.
And then she
He
says,
said it like a mafia.
part of me agrees with my dad.
And I don't think a part of her really truly agrees with her dad. I think she's just scared.
I don't know.
Because when Patrick comes back and talks to her, and he comes out of the garage and he said, what did she say? And she's like, that's where she finally says, yeah, my dad doesn't like you. And you see Patrick go, what? And I'm like, oh,
Now,
Patrick.
I don't know why this could not be facilitated earlier with Thais being honest with other men in her life. By saying she's not honest with her father. She's probably not really, really fully honest with other. She could have said,
she's not honest. She lives in secrets.
yeah,
just period.
And I want to just say, maybe we could get my father, if we will say, if we could get you and my father together, she could say, my father doesn't like you. But here's the strategy. You speak Portuguese. You spend some time with him. You're talking about, they spend time together without her. And I think maybe she'd think her father wouldn't do it.
Maybe.
But I think she's afraid to disturb the status quo. She doesn't want to. I think you're right. She's very afraid of her father.
Very afraid of her father.
And
you could see it in her eyes when he would say things. You could see her reaction. I agree with you. It was the first time I truly felt. No, I felt some empathy for her, but this is where I went, oh man, bless your heart. It's like you said, it's such a codependent relationship because Patrick says things that are douchebaggy sometimes and that are jerk. But I'm going to go back and say this again. Patrick has done a lot for her. He's sacrificed a lot for her. He's made a lot of effort for her. Mm-hmm. He's a good guy for the most part. And
yeah, I think they could.
The man learned Portuguese for her. That's not an easy language to learn.
I think a lot of their problems can be fixed. Remember, you guys, they're filmed all the time, so you're going to catch some nasty time. Everyone has their fights. The one thing I think not a lot of people will ever forgive him for was throwing money and a credit card at her. Yeah. That's going to be that
was horrible.
He will definitely have to account for that on the tell-all.
He will. That was disgusting.
And
he's not blameless in this, but
no.
Is the word pantheon in the pantheon of 90 Day Fiancé men?
Yeah, I don't even say that. I would just say men and relationships in general. You're going to have things said.
You're going to say things. I've said things. We've said things that are horrible. We've done things that are horrible. But like we good people make bad mistakes.
Yeah.
This isn't a bad person trying to deceive and control someone.
Right. I think it's also a tendency for us to take scorecards for people.
Yeah.
And say, oh, he's got a mark on his scorecard or she's got a mark on her scorecard.
Y'all, if you're keeping score, then you're not in the relationship fully.
Yeah. Unlike a couple we've known long enough, like let's see. I think I was going to say Bini and Ari, who they have, both of them have so many examples that we've seen that they're really the wrong people for one another.
Yes.
And they all have their problems, but they are all well-rounded people. We understand who they are. Neither one of these people, Patrick or Thais, have gotten a ton of screen time. They came in there. They were the last couple we saw, even Muhammad, and then this.
That's true.
So I don't think we really know enough about these two people.
I agree.
I feel like we know a lot more about Bilal and Shaeeda.
And even Muhammad. Yeah.
Well, to a degree. And
more of Eve, but.
Yeah, but even them, I feel like we know a lot about Emily and Kobe.
We do.
But I think it was obvious who the big pushes were this season. Bilal and Shaeeda, Emily and Kobe, Ari and Bini.
I'm going to push back with Ari and Bini because it was a big push at first.
And then nothing.
Now it's not. Really, we're getting a lot of Eva Muhammad now.
Yeah.
More. But let's talk about Bilal. I'm done with that, I think.
He does say, stay with me. I can't imagine your life without you.
Stay with me. The world is dark and cold.
Stay a child while you can be a child. With me. Is this the world you meant? Did you listen?
Stop again. This is your daily Stephen Sondheim. Patrick
Sorry
says,
we killed him.
Yeah, we did. Patrick says, I know it's hard, but stay with me. I can't imagine my life without you. But she's crying real fucking tears.
This is the first time she's been emotional.
You can see how secretive she is because she's someone who cries. She's holding her face in shame, and she's hunched down. She's so shameful about this. And that's when
this is the turning point for her.
Before they even showed next week, I was watching her crying and went, she's going to go home. Mm-hmm. Golly, Shaeeda, take a note from her book, Shaeeda. Run, Shaeeda, run.
So
20 days to wed.
It's not that, this is Bilal and Shaeeda, it's not that I don't see Shaeeda as a victim of Bilal, which I do. I think Shaeeda is very savvy. She knows exactly how she appears.
I love her
on television. She knows exactly. She has a sixth sense about how to appear on a reality show.
Oh yeah,
and how to make people follow. She
knows how Bilal is going to appear, and he has no idea. Y'all, I bet he's going to go to that tell-all going, what the fuck?
Well, no, I think he's already realized once on, because remember the tell-all is usually filmed about halfway through the season.
But he's going to go to tell-all probably in this state of, I'm going to go to this, and this did not pan out like I wanted
filmed,
to.
I want to say it was filmed about 2 months ago. Yeah, or maybe, it's usually filmed about halfway through the season airing. So maybe a month and a half ago.
Because then they'll show clips in the show that they haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
That they're going to, that we see in the latter part.
So y'all, Shaeeda wants to go get coffee because she needs to talk because her lawyer.
Wait a minute, but I'm working right now. Do I need to stop my work, honey?
The way he said it was, so I need to stop, I guess I was going to make money so
later.
We can, quote fingers, talk.
Make money later.
God, I hate him.
And
I hate him.
I wrote, shut your mouth. Shut your mouth.
Shut your fucking whore mouth.
Don't even call him a whore. That's a compliment for us.
That's a good thing for us.
It is, y'all, because Poodle's a whore, I'm a whore, your mom's a whore, and your dad's a whore,
your
too.
Baby's a whore.
Your dog's a whore.
Sorry, because your baby's sitting there, because your baby's going to fuck one day.
It's going to fuck one day.
Look at your baby and
say...
Stop,
no, we can't do
say,
this. No,
baby,
no.
You going to fuck one day.
No, I won't like that. No. No, thank you.
You can sing that.
No more of that drink for you.
You're gonna fuck one day.
No more of that.
Baby. You're gonna fuck
I'm
one
going to stop
day.
the camera. I'm just going to stop the show.
That's the lullaby you can sing to your baby.
So, Shaeeda sits down and she said...
I'm terrible.
She said, I want to know the contract is fair. we see that she did talk to her
She talks to her
attorney,
lawyer
and
for
she
Reed.
asked him, basically, she said, what do you think of this? And he says, this does nothing to protect you at all. And he said, I would not have my
I would
client
not
sign
have
this.
my client sign it.
And so they're sitting there talking, and she said, Shaeeda, she's like, I trusted you, and I looked out for myself. And she said, I think I thought about love as fairy tale love, and then I came here and that changed. And Bilal said, well, that's not love. That's love.
That doesn't
There's
exist.
No fairy. I want to partly kind of agree with him
Well,
here. But
here's-
the way he said it was so like, you're so stupid for thinking that.
Here's the thing. There is a middle ground between Cinderella and ultimate pragmatism.
Yes.
Of let's sign this and we can build a love that we can almost fasten a love out of stone bricks or something,
Yeah.
and we can slowly build it whether each of us wants to or not. Mm-hmm. And there is some kind of middle ground. I don't think Bilal. We have brought up, as you know, and I know you are. I am very reticent to label someone a sociopath.
Yeah.
He's a sociopath.
No, I don't do it. I don't use the term sociopath and narcissist.
I know.
Unless I see it. And he is both of those things.
And what you guys, is because they make fun of emotions. Because they are things that sociopaths
They don't get.
wear like clothing.
Yep.
That never really go inside.
Yep.
And they make fun of them because they're seen as weak and not something you need.
Yes.
And so it's so revelatory.
So he's making fun of her version of love.
Yeah. And there's this, and Shaeeda says this contract 100%.
But
protects
Shaeeda, I want to
Bilal.
say, Shaeeda says, she doesn't even put that fully on him. She says, that's what I've learned about Americans. Americans, you're very business oriented in the USA. So she basically said, so I want to look at this from the American perspective that you're looking at. And I went,
Bing, bing,
bravo,
bang, bang, boom.
Bravo, Shaeeda. You smart girl.
She says, I want to be clear. What I own belongs to me. And she's talking about, I think she's talking about her brand, her yoga brand, and her.
Because she had to leave it behind.
Yeah. This is when I think she's sticking it to him.
Yes.
And this is where I'm thinking it might not go her way, because she is kind of getting him to, she wants him to give her startup capital, but she also wants him to say any of that startup money and whatever happens with that business, he gets none of that. Which is not
That's
really,
what her attorney said.
Right.
To tell her, because he's going to think out her best interest.
Yeah. But that is going further than a prenup a lot of times.
Yes, because
So-
normally they would either, but it's because Bilal takes that like, wait a minute, we're not building that together. I actually agree with Shaeeda, because remember, y'all, this isn't a neighbor's dropping something. It actually shook the floor. But this isn't a prenup where someone is moving. Someone lives in Connecticut, another person lives in Arizona, and they're getting married, and they're two. No, she did leave her country and leave everything
that's a
behind.
good point.
So I don't think we can base this on normal prenups. Bilal doesn't see it that way.
I think I was saying from a general sense.
No, you're
of a
saying though,
legal
why
prenup.
might fuck her over though.
Yeah.
I think she's very valid in what she's saying, and it makes, from someone who did, I'm not a lawyer, but attorney, but I did work at a law office. It makes legal sense.
You made copies of contracts.
I did. I've read a lot. Read many contracts. I've read several prenups, even though we didn't do that type of law, but we didn't do marital law, but still read them. But Bilal says, so wait a minute. So you're saying, okay, we can do that, but then when I sell house after house and if I make millions of dollars, and then he hugs himself and said, that's my money and
Yes.
not yours. And I wrote, shut your stupid mouth, Bilal. God, I hate him.
And
I seriously, if he disappeared and no one found him, she and even their children would be better off.
I think I really believe this, and it's not fame and celebrity is the worst thing that can happen to this person.
Well, yeah, Oprah said once, and I agree with this. She said that I think fame just puts a magnifying glass on who you already are.
Yep. And I'm telling you this now. If they are together, if it's not going to turn out well for her. It might be okay for a while.
Yeah.
It's just so awful. I think he does say, she's like, so will you sign it? He's like, I'll consider it.
I'll consider it.
Ugh.
Pure on, like, y'all, if you read The Sociopath Next Door or just Google, he checks every single box.
I am so wary of labeling because people throw narcissist, sociopath, problematic.
He is both.
All around.
He is both.
So
he is both.
I think that's the show for me. Do you have anything
Boy,
else?
we really ended on just the worst one, didn't we? I feel like I just took a diarrhea shit on y'all.
You
I'm
did.
Sorry. I just went.
The chandelier scream.
That's what I just did. God, we should have planned this better. I feel bad for leaving with this.
Ow, my bruise.
But that's what Matt Sharp is doing to us, y'all. He's just leaving us with this. I just posted it to our Instagram. I don't know. Did you watch the trailer, the new teaser they put out for 90 Day UK?
No. That old woman with that.
You know what I love about it?
There is an actual crone on the show. She's in her 60s.
They're not influencer people. It's real.
I know, it's
people.
real. No, it's like 90 Day.
It's two like gay bears. One of them is black, one of them's white, and
love it.
And you see the one guy saying like, yeah, I don't think I want to marry. Oh, it looks so good.
Love
and
it.
There's an old British mom who's like, no, not going to happen. And oh God.
No, it's they need to restart the franchise, and this is the way to do it.
I think this is the way to do it, everybody. So be sure to check that out. We'll be watching and covering it when we come back from vacation. That's it. That's all I looked at you and Poodle was rubbing his jaw.
I'm stretching my jaw.
Because he's got to suck a dick later tonight. So we got to go, y'all. All right, everybody. We call these people lonely hearts because, Poods, aren't we all just lonely hearts looking for love in all the wrong places?
And if you're wanting a lighthearted romp this fall, check out this trailer for Six and a Baby. Coming to all those...
Exclusively on the Hallmark Channel.
And get $2 off your tickets when you buy Kleenex.
Buy Kleenex.
Y'all call us.